Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Billsology. I'm your host, A. Rich, Akeem Richens. And if you don't know me by now, please get to know me. This is Built in Buffalo. And today, I have a special guest, man. I have my brother on here who is a Washington football team content creator, the host of an incredible yet unique show, What's the Game Plan? I actually was on the show a couple of times. I'm actually wearing the shirt today.
Hey,
So incredible, unique show. What's the game plan? My brother Rod Murray. What's going on, bro? How you doing?
team, man. I'm doing good, man. Appreciate you having me on. Big game this weekend, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about it a little bit. And tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we'll see what happens.
Most definitely, man. We're going to see what happens, and we've been trying to get together for a little while now, but nothing happens before it's time, and it seems like this is the perfect time for us to get together. Right before the start of our game, Washington football team, Buffalo Bills, tomorrow 1 o'clock. I want to get your thoughts. Let's jump right into it. I want to get your thoughts on your football team's expectations coming into the off season, right? We only on week 2. This is the beginning. We can't really count stats to take stats into any type of consistency 2 weeks into the season. So
Yep.
I wanted to get your expectations of your team coming into the season when you seen the Washington football team sign a Ryan Fitzpatrick and you see Washington football team sign a William Jackson and Curtis Samuel. What was your expectations?
I
Or
expected
what
us.
are your expectations? I'm sorry.
My expectation for us was to follow what we did last season, right? I thought it was going to be a team that was real strong on defense. I think we picked up on pieces that we lost, like basically swapping out William Jackson for Ronald Darby, who went to Denver on the signing, and then basically helping our offense, right? We essentially brought in some wide receivers with Curtis Samuels, drafting De'Ami Brown, bringing in Adam Humphries, and then bringing in a quarterback, not wanting to jump up in the draft, right? This was the year where everybody said, "Oh, this quarterback class could arguably be one of the better ones we've seen in arguably a long time, right?" So not making a
Mhm.
decision to jump up and grab one of those quarterbacks. You take Jamin Davis at 17 to kind of strengthen that defensive like strength, right? And
Mhm.
if you watching this, you could say, well, they're just building Carolina 2.0, right? They're going to build a
Mhm.
strong defense and
Mhm.
get a running back with Antonio Gibson that could be Christian McCaffrey like, right?
Mhm.
So that was my expectations really, to be a team that could pick up where we left off, be a 10-7 or a 11-6 team, right, with the extra game now, and really compete to defend our division crown. But unfortunately, things
Yeah.
football has a way of showing you what you can have and then giving you something totally different, right?
Yep.
I can't sleep on the Philadelphia Eagles. You definitely can't sleep on the Dallas Cowboys as much as we want to. So it's a team that's going to be in a division that I think people can't sleep on this year. I think it's going to be a lot competitive than years past. The NFC is a lot more competitive this year. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
think this is a middle of the way team that unfortunately, like where our fan base wants them to be, we won't get there this year. And that's why I thought going into the offseason, like we're a team that's still building, like we're on a 2 or 3 year journey. And
Mm.
last year's performance from a fan's perspective may expedite that, right? Because we were in the playoffs. So now we got to take that next step. Whereas I think last year we just kind of got on that express road with everything's happening to Dallas and stuff, and we kind of snuck in there, right, at like seven
Mhm.
and nine.
Yep.
But I still think we are a year away from truly being a competitor. I think this year is something that we'll build on. Hopefully, like I said, a 10-7 season, but we
Mhm.
still got a little bit of ways to go.
Nice. A Rich, Akeem Richens. I have a special guest, Washington football team content creator in the building, Rod Murray. If you're watching this Billsology on Twitter, please give a like, give a retweet. If you're watching on Facebook, give a share, give a like. And last but definitely not least, if you're watching on YouTube for the first time, please subscribe to Built in Buffalo and give us a like. Speaking of your team, I really like which I've done so far, right? And I think y'all have a lot of unique pieces. I want to get your thoughts before I dive into some things in terms of identity and depth I want to get into. I wanted to get your thoughts on a unique player, in my opinion, who you have in Antonio Gibson. Uh, we're talking about a kid that's about 6'2", 220 pounds. He didn't have that much experience at the running back position. Do you think that he's the guy that's going to be a core piece in that backfield for some years to come? Because we've seen the Washington football team in the past. They had the kid from LSU that didn't work out. They had a stint with Adrian Peterson. Does Antonio Gibson solidify the backfield for the Washington football team?
I think he's a big piece. Does he
Mm,
solidify? To answer your question, no.
mm,
Coming out of Memphis, I thought he was a raw product, right? All they did was run jet sweeps with him out the backfield, and like he was a wide receiver essentially, right? So Kyle
yep.
Smith saw some momentum last year. I think the game needed to slow down for him. Like in my opinion, his vision wasn't there. But he's a hard runner, as we saw in the first two games. So I'm a huge fan of Antonio Gibson, but
Mm,
what hurts me right now is I don't think we have a true backup. Right? I love Jared
mm,
Patterson.
yeah.
We either have to give him more opportunities right now, because J.D. McKissick is just like he's a third down back. Right? He's not going to do anything for you inside the tackles.
He's the
Um,
Chris Thompson.
yeah, that's exactly what he is. That's a
Yes.
great comparison, right?
Yep. Yep.
But we don't have a spell back like TJ Yeldon was for you guys a few years back, or what Matt
Yep.
Jones. I'm drawing a blank on your backup's name right now.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, but
Carlos Williams,
yeah, we don't
Mike Gillensley. I got you.
exactly. We don't have a spell back to where Antonio Gibson isn't asked to touch the ball 20 plus times a game. I don't think he's at that point in his career. But I think he is a solidifying piece as we go forward. I think this is a guy that does get an extension in Washington 2 years from now, right? I don't think he's just another run by the mill running back that we look to replace in 2 years. I think he has all the tools to be a solid running back in our division with the proper offensive line and with these talents at wide receiver that would allow him to execute. Last year was a rough one for him, but he still
Mhm.
almost averaged like 1,200 yards from scrimmage, right?
Right.
So
Right.
he can do it all, man. And I'm excited to see him. I love what they're doing with him so
Mhm.
far this season. But we just got to be able to spell him. You can see him getting tired. He's not like a Derrick Henry that gets stronger, right?
Right. Right.
As
Right.
he
As
gets
the
more
game goes
carries.
on. Correct.
Exactly. He can get there, but he's not there now. So we got to get a second piece. It's still
Mm,
early in the season. A lot of things can fall apart. So we'll
I
see.
like it.
I'm
I
excited
like
for
it.
him now, though.
Yeah, I like it. And you're absolutely right about that. If you could get another guy in there, another piece in there, I'm not sure if Jared Patterson is that piece or not. We'll see. But if you can get another guy that could spell him and not have a big drop off, that can be something of great importance to the Washington football team because he's a big kid. He weighs 220 and he runs a 4.39
Four
40.
three nine, man. He
So
moving.
he's a yep. So he's a very, very explosive back. Great analysis on Antonio Gibson. Let me get some comments in here. I kind of ignored the comment section. My brother Daniel Garis is in here. Says "Go Bills." He's a natural to the vidcast. He also says, "Welcome Rod Murray." Welcome Rod
Appreciate the
Murray.
love, Daniel, man. I wish we were a week before this because unfortunately you're gonna take this L tomorrow. So I
Yes,
can't I
I like
can't
it.
I can't rock with the Go Bills comment, man. But I appreciate the love, man. Appreciate you watching.
I love it, man. I love it. And this is what's great about sports right here. This is the greatest thing about sports where teams can get together and still respect one another and come up with knowledgeable opinions about one another, but we still going to represent our teams at the end of the day. And
Abs-
that's what this is most about, man.
Absolutely, man.
Uh,
Absolutely, man.
one more comment. RC3, you wanted to say something real quick. Wish people would chill on Josh Allen with $258 million contract. I'm going to get into this with Rod Murray, but I'm going to ask. This is going to be part of the random questions at the end of the show. But for now, I wanted to move on to my next topic because Ron Rivera, Sean McDermott, they obviously have some history together back from the Carolina Panther days when Ron Rivera was the head coach. Sean McDermott was his defensive coordinator. And I wanted to ask you, you seen I don't want to say turmoil before Ron Rivera came, but from an outsider's perspective, it seemed that I forgot the last head coach, but it seemed that a lot of things wasn't in order, and it looked as if, from an outsider's perspective, once again, Ron Rivera brought some type of order and structure to the Washington football team. So I wanted to ask you about identity. What type of culture did Ron Rivera bring to the Washington football team organization that probably wasn't there before he got there?
Yeah, so man, great question, man. And Jay Gruden is the head coach.
Jay Gruden, that's right. Yep.
He had a very, in my opinion, laissez-faire approach. That entire organization. It'd be unfair to just say Jay Gruden, right? Because it starts top down.
Hmm.
So it starts with Mr. Dan Snyder, Bruce Allen at the time,
Hmm.
a lot of people in the front office on both sides, right, on and off the field. So it's unfair to put that all on Jay Gruden. Now, let me say that first. But when you look at Ron Rivera, he brings that, and it's almost like a cheat code to say military mindset just because it's his background, right? So I won't go that far. What I'll say is he's a guy that understands what you need from a team. Like structurally, at each position, you need leaders, where you need them at, how you need to act, how you need to like how what it means to be a professional. I
Hmm.
think that's what Ron Rivera brings to your organization. He teaches your player number one or 53, even including practice squad. This is what's expected of you at this level, right? That's why
Hmm.
when you look at the simple things, right? I think there was a story like we had like ping pong tables or stuff in the locker room. Took them
Right.
out
Hmm.
like within the first week, right? Took it out.
Yep. I
Like
heard about that. I heard about
exactly,
that.
like
Yep.
setting the stage for who we're going to be, right? Dwayne Haskins, who I think is an amazing talent, but just was raw and mentally wasn't there yet, right? He has his mistakes, his slip ups, and they get him out, right? Release him within like his second year. You rarely see
Right.
that, unfortunately.
Right. Hmm.
So he's hit that first year, and then everything he dealt with personally, everything we dealt with as a nation, as a world with COVID. It was just like for him, it was I could care less about wins and losses. We just want to build a team or build a organization, right? That's professional. We know how to do things the right way. So from a coaching standpoint, that's what he did, right? He took a
Hmm.
bowl of clay that was all mixed up. He took all the bad parts and then, in my opinion, like remolded it into a perfect ball so we can get the things
Mm.
rolling going into year two, right? And then
Mm.
you look at what they've done off the field with the business side of it, with Jason Wright, who's an amazing team president. And I'm not just saying that
Mm.
because he's our team president. Like if you
Hmm.
look at his moves off the field, right? I've been fortunate enough to attend or watch. Everything's virtual, right? So I say
Yep.
attend.
Yep. Yep.
Attend some seminars that he's been talking to, and just how
Nice.
he talks about the approach off the field, right? You could tell this is a man that is years beyond what Washington is now. He's thinking 5 years from now. I think this is a team that's also vying for a new football stadium in the next 2 or 5 years. So when you look at what Ron Rivera has put on the field, man, we're teaching individuals how to be professional now. And I think
Mm.
that's the most important thing when you look at football as a whole, right? Because
Mm.
everybody's an individual. You look at our team for like the 30 years before that, it's a whole bunch of individuals did what they
Hmm.
wanted to do. And Jay Gruden played a part in that. But Ron Rivera teaches this team now how to be a professional, how to operate both on and off the field, and what it takes to be champions, right? He's not a champion,
Hmm.
but he took a team there
Hmm.
15-1, you know what I'm saying, a few years
Yep.
back. So he
Yep.
knows what it takes to get there. He knows what intricate pieces you need at what positions, and I think he's
Mm.
doing a great job of getting every player, whether you're Ryan Fitzpatrick or you're a practice squad player, to buy into what he believes to be the right way. And I got to say, man, I commend him for everything he's been doing so far.
Nice, man. Nice. And Sean McDermott was actually the defensive coordinator on that 15-1 Carolina Panther team. And
Yep.
I think they bring a lot of similarities to both of their respective organizations in Buffalo and the Washington football team. We're talking about leaders of men. So
Yes, sir.
they're leaders of men. They're going to treat men like an adult, treat them as such, but at the same time, they're going to hold them accountable. Accountability is important, and I think being a good person is important as well. Like you just alluded to, not too long ago, you took the ping pong tables out. You got rid of guys that wasn't a part and didn't fit that culture and that system. So I think both these head coaches both represent leaders of men, and I think both organizations is headed in the right direction because of the men that they put in charge.
Absolutely, man. Like Stephon Diggs, you think about like everything in Minnesota that they were saying was wrong with him. You bring him to Buffalo and a perfect culture that fits for him, and you've
Hmm.
heard nothing else, man. It's all he's a stand up guy, and that's what, like you said, I think you hit it on the head, man. Leaders of men
Hmm.
are what those two individuals are doing, and
Hmm.
and so far we'll see what happens in Washington, but Buffalo has the recipe, right? It's working for you guys.
Yep. So I wanted to talk about because you spoke about Stephon Diggs and you brought him up briefly, and for some reason, well, I know the reason, right? I get a Stephon Diggs kind of vibe in your receiver, Terry McLaurin. He's one of them guys that he seems that he I know he's only into his second year, but he seems like he's always making plays. He's consistently making plays, uh, even though the quarterback play isn't consistent. And I haven't seen a wide receiver get theirs at the wide receiver position without having a consistent quarterback play since DeAndre Hopkins with the Houston Texans. Right. So I wanna ask you, is Terry is Scary Terry a underrated number one receiver in this NFL?
Underrated? No, I don't think he's underrated at all. He gets his just due, and he's earned it. Right, in the 3 years, going his third year now, he's earned everything he has. Right, I'll throw another name in there. Allen Robinson is another guy that just
Mm-hmm.
inconsistent quarterback play. Right,
Right, right,
but he still managed somehow to get over like 1,000 yards a season. Right,
right.
um, but think about it. Terry didn't have a lot of help his first 2 years. As a
Mm-hmm.
rookie, came in, had an amazing year. Last year had an amazing
Last year,
year.
yeah, amazing year.
And
Mm-hmm.
this year, finally, like unfortunately, Curtis Samuel with the injuries, but you still have Diami Brown. He finally has weapons around him. Logan Thomas, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention him. They have
Mm-hmm.
the opportunity, man, to where we can do a lot of things with Terry McLaurin, and he's going to get paid as a top 10 wide receiver, right? I don't think it's a hot take. If his agent doesn't get him top 10 wide receiver money, somebody made a mistake, right?
Right.
He's worth it, and I think his production, albeit quarterback aside, only speaks to what he can do
Mm-hmm.
if he had a quarterback for like that he could build a solid relationship every for the last 3 years, right? Or what Tyler Lockett has with Russell Wilson in Seattle or something like that. So he's a guy that next year when it's time to get paid or whenever that time comes, when you look at his body of work, there's no way you can say he's underrated. There's no way you can say he's not a number one, if not a strong number two, right? Like on
Yep.
somebody's team, he could be a number two that you like what Julio Jones and AJ Brown could be, like that type of tandem. He has that type of talent, man, and like he says all the right things, right, and that could be another positive for him. So
Yep.
I'm looking forward to what he does tomorrow. Like White
I,
White ain't sleeping like tonight.
hey, man, and so you like that matchup?
I
You like
love
that?
that
You
matchup,
like that?
man.
You like that matchup with
I,
Scary Terry
lo-
and Tre'Davious White?
I love that matchup, man.
Really,
I
really,
love it. I think it's gonna be fun to watch tomorrow. Like you can't sleep on it.
right.
Who's on your other side? I'm drawing a blank on your other side.
Levi Wallace. Levi Wallace
Levi
is gonna be
Wallace,
over.
people sleep on him, right?
Who's
What
on
he's
the other
going to
side
do.
receiver wise for y'all?
Right now, we got Diami Brown,
Miami Brown from
and
Carolina, the rookie.
yeah, North Carolina, and
Okay.
Adam Humphreys and Cam Sims. Don't not let me sleep on Cam Sims as well. You guys just have a total package back there, man, with Jordan Poyer, Ponder, I'm messing up his name, and I think Hyde is still back there for you guys.
Yep.
So, right, your secondary, man, is and even your linebacker core. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun. That matchup is
Yep.
that matchup is going to be fun to watch.
So once again, A Rich Akeem Richards. I'm here with my boy Rod Murray. I want to ask you now let me put this out there. Let me put this out there, and then I'm gonna ask you on the flip side. I really like Scary Terry. In my opinion, he is a low end number one receiver in this NFL to a high end number two wide receiver in this NFL. As
Okay.
of right now, in my opinion, if you get him a quarterback, he may be a bona fide number one, right? But as of right now, that's how I see him. I think he's a very good wide receiver. Uh, Trey White is our prize cornerback, right? Do I think he is the best man corner in the NFL? No, not necessarily the best man corner in the NFL. I think he is a good man corner, better zone corner, but at the same time, he's getting paid uh, a hefty contract for his position. So what I'm thinking, if I'm the Buffalo Bills defensive coordinator, is I'm going to have my number one cornerback on your number one wide receiver. I'm going to play that one-on-one matchup. I'm going to give help sometimes. Depending on down distance and situations. But I'm going to let the rest of my guys focus on the other strengths of the Washington football team's offense. So now that I said this, I want to know from you, what is the offensive identity for the Washington football team?
That is an amazing question. and I only wish I had an answer for you right now.
Because when I seen Tyler Heineke, he threw the ball 46 times against the Giants. So I'm like, is this a heavy passing attack or what's going on here?
Man, 2 games in, man, I don't know. If this is Ryan Fitzpatrick, I would tell you this is a running offense, right? That we're going to institute a lot of play action. We're going to try to take advantage of Logan Thomas and have Curtis Samuel, De'Ami Brown, Terry McLaurin stretch the field. I would have told you that 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
With Taylor Heineke,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, man. From week to week, like even the second half of the San Diego Chargers game, all last week against the the New York Giants, we've been a different team, right? It's really who has the hot hand. So I can't give you a straight answer because I don't think this would be unfair to say. I don't think Washington even knows what they are right now, right? You think about offensive line is totally new from last year, right?
Right.
We
Mm-hmm.
brought in, I think it's like three new starters on that offensive line: right tackle, left guard, left tackle. 2 new wide receivers out there, a quarterback with limited starts, running back. So we're a different team, man. I don't want to shy away from your question because I don't know.
No,
I would
you're
like to say
fine.
we're going to run the ball through Antonio Gibson, and then we're going to play off him. But what I'll say about Heineke is he's it's like he's stepping in hot lava back there, man. He's like 1-2 go. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's indifferent, man. What I'll say is he plays fearless.
Yeah.
Like Ryan Fitzpatrick and Alex Smith and even Kyle Allen to some degree
Mm-hmm.
last year, very reserved, right? Checking down within 2 seconds, no issues, right? Just getting into J.D. McKissick or Antonio Gibson on the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
Heineke's going to air it out. And whether you
Right.
like it or not, if you think it's turnover-worthy plays or you think it's like, oh, that could have been picked if this happened or whatever, he's going to air it out. He's going to get it downfield. He's going to try for some big plays. And that, while I love that about him, that could put us in some sticky situations against a good team like the Buffalo Bills. So I know that's like a monopoly lap around
But
your
I like
question.
it. But no,
That's what we are.
But you know what? This is the type of answer I expect when you're not fully settled at the quarterback position, right? When you're not fully settled, it's hard to know the foundation of the team. You don't know if you are fully settled, if you're going to run with this guy, or if you're going to go with the guy that you got from free agency. So that would lead me to my next question. I know Tyler Heineke, he played rather well last year against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right?
Yep.
300 and over 300 yards. Gutsy performance. He tough kid. I know he got a lot of praise. A lot of people will call me a hater because I would say I give the kid credit, but when you don't have an evaluation on somebody, and when you don't have tape or film on somebody, you might get certain type of success because the team don't know what they're facing.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
So now you have some film, not a lot, but you have some type of film on Heineke, and you can kind of get an idea of how to defend him. And I know he was talking in the New York Giant game after the victory that he feels that he should be the starter for the remainder of the season. So I want to get your thoughts. Should Taylor Heineke remain the starting quarterback for the Washington football team when Ryan Fitzpatrick is healthy?
If he's hot, yes. If he's not, no.
Just simple as that.
It's simple as that, man. Like we pay, the Washington football team paid Ryan Fitzpatrick $12 million to be the starting quarterback of this team, right? He spent the entire offseason as the starting quarterback of this team, right? An unfortunate injury took him out, but if he comes back and he's healthy, he's still the starting quarterback of this team. It's simple as that. This isn't a team where we can Ryan Fitzpatrick on the bench. Like we're not going to do. We shouldn't do to him what's happened to him the last 4 or 5 years of his career, right? Had it happen to him in Miami with Tua, had it happen to him with Jameis in Tampa Bay, where it's like you're a reserve quarterback that has a lot of leeway. No, this is his team for the first time in a long time. Washington football team is Ryan Fitzpatrick. Tyler Heineke, like you said, knows his role. He does, like when the lights are on, he shines as he should. I'm in agreement with you as far as that one game. People forget Devin White set out. So the most important defender on that team was out that playoff game, right? So a lot of those scrambling yards, I'm not going to say it's the same as if Devin White is on that defense on that Saturday night last year. So, this is Ryan Fitzpatrick's team, man. Tyler Heineke comes out. He goes on a 6-game win streak. Then we might have a conversation. But if we're a 3-3 team, a 2-4, whatever that is, you go back to Ryan Fitzpatrick, if healthy, he's going to do like he's not having surgery. So he's just like self-healing it. That could throw some red flags up. So, like all things perfect, he comes back 100% healthy and ready to play. We pick up where his team was week 1, and we let the cards fall where it may. You know what I'm saying? Transparently, none of them are the
future.
You know what I'm saying? Both of them are
Right.
just rich quarterbacks. So
Right.
So it's football is a business, man. You pay if I had an employee paying $12 million, he wouldn't have a lot of sick days.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely right, man.
He would be working.
And I think that's the main thing about when I look at the Washington football team is that quarterback position. Now, me personally, I I'm kind of cutthroat and straight to the point. I like to call things a spade. I don't think Tyler Heineke is that guy as far as a core guy for the foreseeable future. No.
No.
Me personally, once Ryan Fitzpatrick is healthy and ready to go, I'm going to insert him, and see what he got. But at the same time, I know Ryan Fitzpatrick had success with the Miami Dolphins and he played real well, but a lot of these quarterbacks are system quarterbacks and they excel in certain systems. So what system is Ron Rivera running and how does that compare to the system he was successful in with the Miami Dolphins? So those are certain things that I'm going to be looking for when we see Ryan Fitzpatrick come in and actually play for the Washington football team.
Absolutely. And it won't be as if he's like totally removed from the team, right? He may
Right.
not be able to practice per se, but he's still taking mental reps. He's still involved with like day-to-day practice and stuff. So Tyler Heineke has a strong enough stretch, like 6 to 7 games upcoming, and they're gonna be tough. Like we got Buffalo, Chiefs, Green Bay's in there, Denver's in there, and that secondary's out of control. So he's gonna have a stretch where like if you come out of this somehow with some battle wounds but a positive record, then you'll have to stop and say, or maybe you ride this out. But if he comes out of this, you know what I'm saying, as just a coasting quarterback, absolutely, man. You go back to Ryan Fitzpatrick and you finish out the back half of the season. And then with either quarterback, we're still going to depend on our defense to carry us, right? So,
Right.
and you let it ride like that.
Now, once again, Rich, Akeem Richards. This is Billsology. I got my boy Rod Murray in the building. We are getting to know our opponent this time around. And I want to show you a guy that scares me, but I'm not even sure if he is the best lineman on the team. I know he gets the hype, but I'm not sure. But this guy, Chase Young,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
number 1 overall pick, 7.5 sacks last season. He was a force. Tackles for loss, fumble recoveries for touchdowns. Chase Young is a menace on the defensive side of the ball, and he can be problematic for our Buffalo Bills. Darrell Williams, our right tackle, has not played particularly well to start off the season. So we're definitely going to have our hands full in terms of trying to block and chase Young and the rest of the Washington football team's defensive line. But Rod, I want to ask you, as much hype as Chase Young gets, is he even the best defensive lineman or the best defensive end on the team? Because I'm looking at these other guys in Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen and even Montez Sweat, who has been picking up his productivity every season he's come into the league. So who is if you don't want to tell me, or if you don't know who is the best, who is your favorite defensive lineman on the Washington football team?
Favorite defensive lineman is Daron Payne.
Really?
That's my favorite. Yes, Daron Payne is my favorite.
Why?
And he allows every other defensive lineman to be great. Him and Matt Ioannidis don't get the respect they deserve, right? Every play, whether in that 1 of the 3 technique, they're dealing with a guard and the center, right? Which allows the Montez Sweats to go one-on-one with the right tackle, or Jonathan Allen, who's beasting right now, to be one-on-one with the left guard. And then you got Chase Young dealing with the left tackle or tight end combo, or whatever the case may be, right? Daron Payne allows the engine to run, right? He's like that premium gas that allows your car to hit max performance. So he's my favorite. He's my favorite, Daron Payne. But to your Chase Young question, this is a guy, I think he's as advertised. Is he hyped? And you got to look at the team, all right? it's 4 number ones on the defensive line, right?
Crazy.
Exactly, it's crazy. All right, so he's as advertised. Is he going to come out and give you 3-4 sacks a game? No, it's not going to happen. Is he going to cause trouble? Yes. Is he going to take some plays off? What player doesn't? Right. And I think because of what people saw last year, he's the number 2 pick overall. You see the YouTube highlight plays, and he smashed somebody who's returning a fumble for a touchdown. We expect him to be what Joey Bosa, or sometime I think I've heard like people try to compare him to a baby Aaron Donald at some points from a performance standpoint. Obviously not what he's able to do. But he's still not, and which is scary. This is scary. He's still not technically sound yet, right? He's still not a guy that has like, okay, I have my number 1 move. I'm gonna hit you with another 2 as a counter, right? He's just beating you off the end right now. He's not a guy that's using his hands.
Multiple moves.
Exactly. He doesn't have that yet. So wait till he gets that. And that's the scary part.
And Rashawn Slater did have his success. I seen a comment up here. He did have his success against Chase Young in college, and it looked like it transferred over to early parts of the NFL. So you're absolutely right in terms of developing more pass rush moves.
You got to look at that game. San Diego. I keep wanting to call him San Diego, man.
Right.
But the Chargers, man, you got to think about it. They were getting that ball out less than 3 yards. They saw what we were doing. Get it on the edge of the perimeter and making things happen, right? You're right. Rashawn Slater had an amazing game against Chase Young. He had one against Montez Sweat. But you got to look at the game plan they had. It was to get it out fast, right? There's no defensive end getting back there in the backfield within 1 second or 1 or 2 seconds, right? So kudos to them, man. They had an amazing game plan. I think this week, Josh Allen, his average time to throw is almost like 3 seconds at 2.85. So it's going to be a different game this week, right?
Right.
So it's going to be who's to say, man? I think Chase Young is as advertised. He has the ability to be an amazing defensive player on this field. And he does a lot more than just rush to, you know what I'm saying? He's a defensive end. Like, he's a hybrid. He drops back in his zone sometime. Sometimes he's standing up. He's not always in a 3-point stance. So he does a lot that's asked of him within this scheme, man. And is he overhyped? Yeah, but I don't think that's to his doing. I think that people saw a number 2 overall pick, and that's the first thing they talk about. But like you said, man, this is a defense with 4 number 1 overall picks, a 5th rounder that was beasting in Matt Ioannidis before he got hurt with a bicep injury. Exactly. So this defensive line as a whole is a problem, and y'all gonna feel it tomorrow.
And you know what? And you see, you say that with confidence, and I have to take it like that because on the flip side, and another thing that what else you scared that kind of scared me as you said it. Jonathan Allen is beasting right now. He's beasting right now. And the reason why that bothers me is because our interior offensive line is the liability of our offensive side of the ball right now. That's the liability of our football team. Our interior O-line play at the guard positions has not been good at all. They've been able to take advantage of John Feliciano, our interior lineman, or Cody Ford, and pressure Josh Allen, knock him off his spots, make him throw the ball a lot earlier than he wants to. So that's definitely some things that concerns me, being a Buffalo Bills fan, and it's that dangerous front 4 that y'all present.
And I'll be remiss, man, just not to throw Tim Settle's name in there. Another late rounder that comes in as a reserve defensive tackle and can cause problems, man. So there's 6 or 7 guys, man, in our front 4 that plays within that front 4 as a rotation that on any play can cause some disruption, whether y'all decide to run the ball with Singletary or pass it with Josh Allen. So that's another matchup. We talk about Terry McLaurin and Tre'Davious White as being like a marquee matchup to watch, and rightfully so. But that defensive line, offensive line in the trenches where the fun happens, you know what I'm saying? That's going to be something to watch too, man. Because what I've seen from Josh Allen, man, and I guess what I love about Josh Allen, if I can say that, if I can respect somebody other quarterback right now, he knows where he wants to go with conviction, right? There's no mistakes,
right?
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he has a read, he's getting that read, and he's dangerous on the ground, right? So, like, if Stephon Diggs is the number 1, he's covered. I'm zinging it to Cole Beasley or Emmanuel Sanders or Gabriel Dawson or Isaiah McKenzie. And it's getting there. Ain't no mistakes, man. Like, he's able to put it in some windows where you look at other quarterbacks and say, man,
Right.
This guy has a laser arm, so that scares me. That
And
scares me.
I want to ask you about that because Josh Allen through the first two games, he hasn't played great, right? He's missed some throws. He's not as accurate as he was last year thus far through the first two games. But uh again, outsider's perspective, I don't know your team, but you can tell me if we can get some pass protection, if we can get some pass protect, whether that's better O-line play or if we have to scheme it up and max protect and have extra tight ends and have extra running backs in the backfield to help block, I feel if Josh Allen could get some time, we could exploit that secondary of the Washington football team.
Man, I hate to say that's not a you spot on, man.
That
As
is
much
so,
as
so
much
is
as
that
we
right?
talk about our front four,
Right.
I am just as concerned about my second level and really not much my cornerbacks, but my safety play.
The safety
All right.
play.
I,
Is it Collins back there?
it's Landon Collins. We have
Mhm,
I don't really understand it yet, but it's Landon Collins, Cam Curl, the last
mhm,
year sensation out of Arkansas, and
mhm,
Bobby McCain, which you guys are very familiar with from your time with Miami Dolphins in that rivalry, right? So there's a weird three-man rotation that's going on back there at our safety position, just trying to get all three of those guys on the field. All right.
mhm,
John Bostic, he has struggled in pass coverage since he came to Washington. It hasn't been a strong suit of his.
mhm,
And then Davis, the rookie, we're still getting him acclimated right to the NFL game. The game is, in my opinion, what I see is moving very fast for him. Like
mhm.
once the play starts, right? He gets what's supposed to happen, but once it happens, it's moving a little faster for him. So they've kept it, in my opinion, from a pass coverage perspective, very bland for him, right? Just watching number three going to the seam, mirror the running back. It's been real bland with him.
Right.
So if you guys, like you said, if everything goes perfect for your offensive line and somehow they all turn into excuse my language, they all turn in like the best all pro lineman you have, it could be a long day.
Mhm,
It can get long early, and the one downside of having a young defensive back, frustration sets in, right? And
mhm,
then you got I'm trying to do your job and you're doing my job, so then it's just holes all over the field, and now you run into another situation which y'all had last week with Miami, right? You're putting up 35 points and
mhm.
he's only throwing the ball 33 times. But
Right.
if we can force Josh Allen to throw the ball 40, 50 times, then we gives
Mhm,
ourselves a chance to win. But like you said,
mm.
man, outside of that four, that back seven, whatever we decide to do with it, if they're not moving in unison on a rope, like I like to call it a rope between the cornerbacks and safeties.
Mhm.
If we're not doing that, it's going to be a long day. And Josh Allen can easily be a 325. Well, I'll say 275 to 300-yard guy tomorrow.
I like it. I like it. Is Logan Thomas uh like the security blanket for whatever quarterback is out there? Is that what you see as well? Is he a focal point that probably the Buffalo Bills defense should try to look into taking away
You
in the
have to.
ball game tomorrow?
You have to. You have to.
Logan
If,
Thomas?
if
Mhm.
Logan Thomas has anything between from the line of scrimmage up to 15 yards anywhere on the field, if you're not accounting for him, you're messing up.
Mm,
And that's just you can see it, right? Whether it's
right.
the play action boot outs or the roll outs or corner routes that he does, and he can line up in the slot, right? So he's dangerous. He's not like always lined up as a pure tight end. So he's going
Mhm,
to create mismatches that your safety's going to have to go to work. They're gonna have to punch in tomorrow. All right, they're gonna have to punch that clock. It ain't gonna be an easy rollover. And Logan Thomas allows for a lot of stuff to work around him. Right,
mm,
he's a guy that can play within a scheme or he can be the scheme for our offense. Right, one day he can have 7 targets or he can have 17 targets. So he's definitely a guy that you guys don't have to mirror. I don't know what Edmonds. I don't know what responsibility he's gonna have tomorrow. But I think
mhm.
this is one of those games tomorrow that at every level, man, it's going to be cat and mouse, right? The
Right.
coaches with Ron Rivera and Sean McDermott, Edmonds, Thomas, White, it's everywhere, man. This is
Yep.
definitely a game tomorrow where it's like we're playing chess the entire day.
Most definitely. I'm gonna take Bart's comment here. Take Bart and answer Bart's comment. Bart asks, has Allen regressed from last year playing in front of the Bills of little to no fans to having fans in the stands? Question. You know what? That's an excellent question, right? Because no fans compared to 60,000 fans, it could make a difference, but I don't think that's the factor. I think that Josh Allen is just not executing right now. I don't think he's making the necessary throws. I don't think he's being accurate with his throws. And again, uh, Josh Allen came out of nowhere with this play. Nobody knew in the NFL that Josh Allen and Brian Dable, the offensive coordinator, was going to cook up what they cooked up last year. So now that you have 19 games of film on Josh Allen, and other players are getting paid millions of dollars to stop him, as just like he's getting paid millions of dollars to score, players are going to take that off season to watch film. Coaches is going to take that off season to watch film. So now it's about what can Josh Allen do to adjust to the adjustments made on him, and that's what sports is all about. That's what the chess piece about sports is all about: adjustments, and how can you make adjustments to uh uh be successful. But excellent question. Rod,
Yes, sir.
keys to the game. Now, I want to give my opinion first in terms of what I feel the Buffalo Bills need to do to come out successful against the Washington football team, and then I want you to give me your take on what you think your team needs to do as well. Um, Taylor Heineke is a gutsy guy, right? He's a gutsy guy. He's a tough competitor. I don't think that he can beat us. So what I think we should do is we have to get back the Buffalo Bills identity. We are a pass attack, pass heavy team, and we want to put up points. If we can get back to the point where last year, where we put up damn near 30 points a game, if we can get back to that level, I don't think Taylor Heineke can keep up. I think if we get to a certain amount of points where we could outrun Washington offensively. So keys to victory, in my opinion, is Josh Allen getting back to finding his groove, finding back his success that he had last year, hitting Stephon Diggs, because Stephon Diggs has been quiet, and hitting our other receivers. Our other receivers has to win their one-on-one matchups as well. The battle in the trenches is going to be important. Our protections is going to be important. The Washington football team have, in my opinion, one of the best defensive lines in all of football. So protection is going to be important. I believe our running backs, Zach Moss and Devin Singletary, they're going to have to be in there on the protections as well. And if we can have a relatively clean pocket for Josh Allen, because he is a big, strong, athletic kid that can make moves on his own as well. But if we can have a relatively clean pocket for him and let him make plays, I believe offensively, if we score 27 points, I think we would be okay. And defensively, I would play Taylor Heineke just like I played Tua. Tua is, for the most part, a one read quarterback. I want to take away his first read. I want to take away Heineke's first read, and I want to see how he can read through his progressions. I want to take away Scary Terry and make him look to the other receivers and see if the other receivers can beat us. The Washington football team has the best run block win rate in the NFL, right? They're number one. I forgot the percentages, but they are a pretty damn good blocking team. Antonio Gibson is about 4.8 yards per carry this season, right? 5.3 yards per carry last week, or was he a little bit over that?
He was
But
right over it last week.
right over it last week. But for the most part, 4.8 yards per carry. And if he gets in that open field with his 4.39 speed, he could be gone. So we want to make the Washington football team a one-dimensional team, and that's by us scoring a lot of points. And I believe if we get to 27, we will win this football game.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I agree with you there. If it's a shootout, you guys will win. So
Right.
you guys make it a shootout, right? For us, I'll say on both sides of the ball, this game is won outside the tackles. Whether it's us attacking your perimeter with Greg or
Gregory
Ruscio,
Rousseau.
Greg Russo,
Rousseau.
who has two sacks right early this season.
Mm-hmm.
Either Samuel Cosme beating him or Charles Leno beating Jerry Hughes, right? This game, I think, is going to be won on the outside. We're not going to beat you guys with Ed Oliver and Star Lututola. I definitely butchered his name. There you go. We're not going to win it inside, right? So we're going to win this game outside the tackles on both sides of the ball, beating you guys, being able to get either J.D. McKissick. I think we see a lot more of Jared Patterson this year and
Mm-hmm.
this week, and Antonio Gibson, getting them on the perimeter as fast as possible. Whether that's with stretches,
Yeah,
screens,
I
getting the
like
ball to
that.
Terry McLaurin, getting it out early, right? And we're going to win
Mm,
this game 3 to 5 yards at a time, right? I don't think this
mm,
is a game where we try to take the top off the defense. This is a game where we incrementally march down the field, and this is, in my opinion, a low-scoring game. I see
mm.
24-21 or 24-17. I'm us. That's my prediction. I
Score
know I kind of jumped
prediction.
the gun.
You jump ahead, but I ain't mad at it. Score,
My bad,
score
my
predict. Now
bad.
you good. Score prediction right away. Washington football. So 24-17.
24-17. Defensively, we shrink the field, man.
So how is
Defensive.
Heine? How is Heine? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm curious. Once you said 24-17, 24 points. Y'all gonna? So Taylor Heineke is
We get
going to
two out the
score
backfield. We get two out the backfield.
throughout the backfield. Okay, that's
Yes,
14, and then the
that's
other
14.
10,
I
Heineke's going to manage.
he give me a quarter. He can give me seven.
I like it.
If
I
a
like
starting
it.
quarterback in the NFL can't give me 7 points, and
Right.
we might have a different conversation. So that's
Right.
my prediction, right?
Mm,
Defensively, we got to shrink the field for Josh Allen, right? He's going to get his reads because I don't think we're going to make plays all the time. But they can't be 20, 30 yards down the field. They got to be 5 yards here, 10 yards here. Like Cole Beasley has to lead your team in targets and receptions. That's a win for them, in my opinion. If we let
right.
Stephon Diggs
Right.
run up and down the field, again, it's going to be a long day. But when you start having the Gabriel Dawsons,
Dave
the
Davis.
Emmanuel Samuels,
Mm-hmm.
Davis, I'm sorry, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then Knox. Well, like when these guys are leading your team in targets, in my opinion, that's a win for me because these guys ain't running, they ain't getting the ball 20, 30 yards down the field, right? These are guys
Mm-hmm.
they're targeting what is to me our weakest point on the team, which is our linebacker core right now. But it's allowing guys to rally to that. We can't allow Singletary to have more than 4 yards of pop. That can't
Mm-hmm.
happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like this cliche is, but we got to win first down and we got to get off the field on third down. I think you guys are like right now, you're like 48%, which is like
Mm-hmm.
top 5 in the league on third down
Mm-hmm.
conversions. We can't win like that. No team can, right? You got to be able to get off the field on third down. We've struggled with that against good teams. The New York Giants, I don't put them in that tier, so I exclude that. They went 4 for 13. A lot of that was self-conflicting, right? But you look at San Diego, here we go again. The Los
Mm-hmm.
Angeles Chargers, they was like 16 for 17 on third down or something like ridiculous, where they were able to extend drives. We got to get Josh Allen off the field as early as possible to where you guys are playing from behind. Because when you're playing from behind, that's when Josh Allen will throw it 40 yards down the field. That's, in my opinion, that's when he starts to incorporate his legs a little more in the game, right? Trying to make things happen. That's what Josh Allen is to me. He's a
Mm-hmm.
quarterback that's going to try to make things happen. But you don't do that when you're up 14-3, right? Because field goal might be the first thing we have in the first quarter, right? So if we get down, then y'all good, y'all coasting. But if we get you guys to where you're operating 3rd and 8s, maybe some sacks here now, where we get you guys off your rhythm and get you out of that time in offense, that's how we sneak out a 24-17 win, is by shrinking the field with Josh Allen and making him play within at 10 yards. 10-yard games, I got to get it out within 10 yards. Ain't no 30-yard bombs down the field. Can't happen tomorrow.
And ladies and gentlemen, obviously, Rod Murray, Washington football team content creator. You notice the outsider's perspective, right? The blueprint, his blueprint to defeating the Buffalo Bills is letting the other players beat you, right? Covering Stephon Diggs, making sure he doesn't get his, and letting the other guys, the Dawson Knox of the world, the Gabriel Davis of the world, Emmanuel Sanders of the world, letting them guys beat you. And that is exactly what so far the Buffalo Bills organization is trying to figure out, because that if you know that blueprint, right, then obviously that's the blueprint that's been going around ever since the AFC Championship game. And that's why we've been stagnant on offense sometimes, because teams are completely taking away everything deep. They're taking away everything deep for Stephon Diggs. They're giving him everything short so they can tackle in front of him, and he's garnering most of the attention. And guys like Dawson Knox and Cole Beasley has been catching them short to intermediate passes. So that's exactly how the opposition has been playing the Buffalo Bills. And for us to combat that, those guys are going to have to win their one-on-one matchups. right?
Absolutely.
It's as simple as that. Who is going to win their matchup? Whoever wins their matchup more than likely has a great chance of winning the ball game.
Yep.
Uh Rod gave his score prediction of 24-17. I'm gonna go ahead, obviously, spin it to the flip side. I'm gonna go ahead and say 30-17.
Ooh,
The Buff
17 points.
Yes, 30
That's
to
good.
17. The Buffalo Bills over Washington football team. It's because
Let me ask
it's
you a question. If Ron Fitzpatrick is our quarterback, is it still 30-17? I'm just curious.
I probably no.
Okay.
No,
Okay. Okay.
I would probably say 30-21, thirty to
Oh,
24.
you give us 4 more points. Okay.
30, 21, 24. Yes.
Okay.
Victory nevertheless,
I got you. I respect that. I respect
victory
that. Okay.
nevertheless.
That's all
And
good.
that's no disrespect to Taylor Heineke. He's again, he's a competitor. He's a competitor. He's a tough kid. There's a reason why, even though he's not in my opinion, he might not be the future for the Washington football team, but he is a serviceable option, and that's why he got that contract after the season, right? He got a little contract where it's minimal for a quarterback, but it could equate to a good contract for the Washington football team if he is a high end backup for the team.
No, it's a solid 2 year deal,
Yeah.
right? And
Hmm.
look, here's my period on Heineke, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, he's an NFL quarterback, so you got to respect him in some regards. This is the first game, in my opinion, that you're going to look at him and say, "What can he do?" Right? You gave him
Mm-hmm.
an out with Tampa Bay. Oh, they didn't scout him, right? He got thrown into the Los Angeles Chargers game 2 weeks ago, and so really, what's going to happen? Last week, you look at him, it's like, oh, he should eat. It's the New York Giants, right? Nobody knows what
Hmm.
they are. So you guys are the first on the road, right? So his first game on the road. Last year was at home against Tampa Bay, so his first game on the road
Hmm.
against a solid defense. What can you do? They know you coming. How are you
Hmm.
going to respond? Right. And then, oh, by the
Hmm.
way, you got Kansas City next week. They also know you coming. How are you going to respond? So now this is, in my opinion, this is where we see who Taylor is.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's nasty,
Buffalo,
man.
Buffalo, Kansas City, back weeks. Yeah, that's a rough one.
So this is where like defensive coordinators know your name now and they know what you're about. This ain't
Mhm.
preseason where I'm playing with twos and threes and you getting 10 snaps. You about to get a whole 60 minutes, man, of the
Mhm.
best a team has to offer. And from one of the best teams in the league right now, right? How do you respond? So again, I don't think he's going to change. Whether I said this earlier to a couple of my friends, man, and be that as may, some people like it, somebody didn't. Heineke can go 24 for 27 for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns tomorrow, or he can go 11 for 200 with 3 picks. I probably still feel the same about him come Monday morning. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Yeah,
that's
it's a
unfortunate, but
wild
that's what it
card.
is. So who knows what we're going to get? But this is the first game, in my opinion, that we look at him and say, what is his package? What can he bring to a team?
So we're talking about battle of the trenches, but we didn't really talk about the offensive line of the Washington football teams and the defensive line of the Buffalo Bills. We have two young guys, in Gregory Rousseau and AJ Epinesa, that's been really getting after it. The first couple of weeks of the season, AJ Epinesa's get off has been top notch. I believe he has uh 15 pressures in 2 games. Gregory Rousseau has a couple of sacks. How is the Washington football team's offensive line? Are they good in the trenches? Are you more of a how is the pass protection there? I see the run block win rate is very successful. So when I see that, I'm thinking that should be the identity of the team since you have success there. But how is the offensive line?
We'll ask Ron Fitzpatrick. How you feel
Right, man.
No, man. It's
That's unfortunate, man.
yeah,
Damn, Fitz.
miscommunication. You threw it up to the rim, yo. I just had to put it down. I saw it was
Yeah,
that was an
yeah,
easy one.
yeah, yeah. That
But
was easy
to,
alley.
to answer your question, bro, it's one that's being put together. It's a lot easier to run block in the NFL when you like figuring out what's going on versus passing.
Why did you get
Um,
rid of Morgan Moses?
it was a
The
time. It was time, man. It was time. There was some rumblings that there was a miscommunication with the organization, man. You just wanted to get
mm,
younger, right? I
okay.
mean, he's an iron heart. Like, what is the word? He's an iron heart, right? He's an iron heart. He's gonna play when
I
he's injured. You know what you're
mm-hmm.
gonna get. But it was an opportunity. There was no more guaranteed money on his deal, so he's probably wanting to look for some guaranteed money. And you just wanted to go younger. I'm not mad at Samuel Cosme. He's done a great job in like
Mm-hmm.
he's been spearheading basically like going forward. And I mean by running that entire operation on the right side of the field with Brandon Sheriff, right? So to answer your question, we're gonna have our hands full, man. From a pass blocking perspective, like I said, three of those guys
Mhm.
are new. Eric Flowers was there before,
Yeah, he was
before
there
he,
before.
yeah,
Former Giant. Mhm.
former Giant, before he went got the money and down in Miami.
Mhm.
But Charles Leno was a starter in Chicago for like 6 or 7 years. Like it's almost the same situation with Morgan Moses. They just wanted to get younger and the opportunity presented itself, and he found money for him in Washington. So I think you look at our offensive line, we're going to get it out fast. So it won't be a situation where we're asking Taylor Heineke to stand back there and be Tom Brady and you get like eight,
Mhm.
9 reads. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's going to get it out fast and he's going to run. It's quite simple as that. So our offensive line is one that's is still molding, man. We're talking about again 3 weeks in. The
Right.
short preseason, they didn't get a lot of snaps units in there. I will say this about our offensive line, right? Between Chase
Mhm.
Roulier and Brandon Sheriffs, you got two strong pieces there in your interior lineman. And then, like I said,
Yes,
Eric Flowers, in his
I
own
like Brandon.
regard, he had his best year when he was in Washington 2 years
Washington.
ago. Exactly.
Mhm.
So
Saved his career in Washington.
exactly, definitely able to get
Mhm.
paid, man. So we have one that on paper should be suitable to contend tomorrow. But if we have some miscommunications between blocking schemes and picking up blitzes, athletically, we can have some problems with your defensive line, man. Because like you said, as you alluded to, man, you got Washington. I think has a better defensive line, but you guys ain't too far behind it. Like Ed Oliver and like I said, the
Mhm.
individuals you already named,
Mhm.
they get paid too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely, man.
it's going to be a fun watch on both sides, man. I'm definitely looking forward to it. How's the weather supposed to be tomorrow?
I think it's supposed to be windy. We're playing in Buffalo, so you know the weather is always going to be some type of factors. That it's not the
Yeah.
summertime; the fall has officially started. So I think it's supposed to be nice for the most part, but I think wind is going to play some type of a factor.
So you got to factor that in. I don't know if it's like I said, raining or all that good stuff. So
Right.
it's gonna be a fun game to watch on both sides offensive because both defensive lines units can cause problems if they get started early. And once they get rolling, I've seen it from you guys too. Once you get a sack here, everybody start jumping around.
Hmm.
It turns into everybody
Momentum.
like everybody's playing freely now. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Everybody's playing
Yep.
with their ears back and just go get the quarterback. And when you can do that, it frees up a lot of stuff. It makes your cornerbacks, your safety's job a lot easier. And I can play flat footed now because everything's coming out early and I'm just going forward versus doing this, backpedaling and turning and all this.
Right.
It's a different game, man. So we'll see. Whoever defensive line gets going first wins the game. 30 miles per hour. Jesus.
That can definitely call be a factor.
Yeah. So there we
If
go.
that's accurate, if that is accurate, that can definitely be a factor in
Yeah.
the
Well, I
game. But
appreciate that information, bro.
right,
Yeah.
but it's
So
Buffalo. It's Buffalo, so I wouldn't put anything past it. Wouldn't put anything past it.
that's crazy.
Uh, nah, loan correcting is supposed to be 10 to 15 powerful winds,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
with gusts to 25.
All
So
right. So yeah.
that's still pretty. It could be pretty significant.
I'm about to say 30, man. What y'all got? A tropical storm or something coming? Yeah. Yeah.
Right, man.
Something out there close that we need to know about?
But Rod, man, this has been excellent, man. I wish I could do this every week, right? But again, doing it every week would result into a different personality, and I don't think every personality would be as talented as you are. So I really appreciate you coming on, giving us the Washington football team synopsis and perspective. We get to know our opponent a little bit. You did a great job giving us fans some insight on your football team, and this has been a great conversation, man. I really appreciate you.
No, man, it's all love, man. I appreciate everything you do, man. I love the network y'all have here, man. I found y'all a year ago just on Facebook, man. And you
Right.
like with my show I did, man, you was very receptive to it, man. Like I said, each time I asked you to appear on it, man, it was all love and you showed out, man. So I felt like as soon as you asked this, man, it was a no-brainer, man. Just because you reached out and I reached out that branch, man, you grabbed it and it's only right to do the same, man. So again, it was supposed to happen whenever. That don't matter. It happened when it happened,
Yes, sir.
and this felt good, man. It was an hour of good conversation. And I
Definitely.
know you say you learned a lot about Washington, but I mean, like I said, I've learned just as much talking about watching you guys, watching your live shows, and all the content you create, and what you told me tonight. So I'm looking forward to an amazing and healthy game, man. I think we haven't said that yet. We don't. No team needs any injuries at this point, so
Right. Right. Most definitely.
that's the most important thing, man. That everybody walks out of tomorrow feeling just as good as they did before, plus or minus some aspirins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. It should be fun. We both hope our team comes out with their respective victories, but it's all love at the end of the day.
Yes,
Rod,
sir.
what you got coming up? Where can we find you? What you got coming up? What's going on right now in your neck of the woods in the near future?
Yeah, man. So what's the game plan? I'm gonna roll that back out again. It's a game show that we take the stats and we flip it, man. Everybody's, in my opinion, has something to contribute. And fans, if you know what your players can do from a statistical standpoint, we live in a world that's very data analytical driven. We
Hmm.
want to get you to talk about it. So that's what's the game plan. We'll be pushing that back up here. I'm on Twitter at Rod Murray 05. All right, there's a lot of Rod Murrays out there. Rod Murray zero
Zero
five.
five. Mm-hmm.
I'm starting up another podcast to cover the Washington football team now. I play Madden a lot, so I'm going to basically make some comic book strips from the
Dope.
game. So I'm going to take like
Dope.
moments from the game,
Mm,
replicate them from Madden, build
mm.
a comic book strip on it, basically as a recap, right? So
Really? That's
so,
dope.
so something different, man. Something
Mm,
different, man. I think there's a lot of amazing content out there, and there's different ways to contribute to it, right? So I
most
think that
definitely,
would be
Rod.
something different to target another audience. So I'm looking. My first one will be actually this game. So hopefully we get some big plays that I could try to replicate and then turn it into a comic book strip as a recap. So that's the biggest thing I got going now, man. So
Nice.
look forward to that, man. This upcoming week, and again on Twitter. I love talking about football. It ain't got to be Washington or Buffalo. You know what I'm
It could
saying?
be anybody, any team,
It could be
any team.
Eagles or 49ers, man.
Right.
I love the game of football, man. So anybody's up to talking about with it, man, connect with me and we can have a great conversation.
That is awesome, man. That is awesome, man. Great show, great conversation. Once again, my brother Rod Murray, content creator for the Washington football team. And this was our first time, but this is definitely not our last time. We're going to get together again and again. It doesn't even have to be about Washington football. We could just have nice dialogue, intellectual conversation about the NFL.
Yes, sir. The game is changing every day, man. So they need content creators like myself and your team to
Hmm.
capture it, man, from a fan's perspective, man. I'll say this, man. This year, or even last year, I think from the fan-driven content that's coming out has
Hmm.
surpassed like the creativity that I've seen from various teams, like what you guys are building here with Billsology. It
Hmm.
surpassed what some of the guys is getting paid a
To do.
healthy sum to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's something that people do take. Well, they are taking note of it, right?
Right.
And just keep pushing it forward, man. I love what you guys are doing. It's inspiring me to every day to create something new. And I only hope that I can continue to push that button forward for all content creators, whether it be sports, anything, just in general.
Most definitely, Rod. I definitely appreciate you. And again, this was the first time, but most definitely not the last.
Absolutely.
So once again, A Rich, Akeem Richens, this is Billsology. My boy Rod Murray is in the building. Great conversation once again. And I'm back next week, 9 p.m. Hopefully with another Bills victory. So
I don't know. I don't know.
A Rich, Akeem Richens, Rod Murray, Bills.